All right, so in Revit here, we're taking a look at our sheets. If you look in your project browser, you'll see I've collapsed all my different sections. You can collapse and open any of these as you go through. By default, they're not collapsed. I like to collapse them so I can see where I'm at. And one of them down here will be sheets. Let's open that up. You probably don't have anything in sheets at the moment. To put a new sheet on your document, there's two ways to do it. You can right-click on Sheets and click New Sheet, or under the View tab up here at the top, there's an option for New Sheet. Under Sheet Composition, New Sheet. Either way, when you start a new sheet, you're going to get this window that pops up asking you what size sheet you want to make. All right, here we are. The default title block that will appear is this B size 11 by 17 sheet. If that's the one you want, pick it and hit OK. If that's not available, or if that's not the one you want, you have to load a new title block in. We do that by clicking Load. You'll get this window, and it's the same window you've been seeing all along when you load new things into your project. In this case, you want to scroll to the bottom and look for title blocks. And each of the different sizes we can create are listed here. Pick the one you want. A, B, C, so forth. A D size sheet is the largest sheet we can print. That's the size sheet that we'll print on our large format printer. It's a D size sheet.
What's like a regular
8.5 by 11 is the type of paper you use every day in your notebook. 11 by 17 is a large piece of paper that we can print on our printers here in the school. Every printer here can print 11 by 17. 17 by 22 is just a little bit bigger than that. 22 by 34 is the biggest size I can print on the large format printer in the back of the room, often called a plotter. So I'm going to pick that one just to show you, and you click Open, and it will load it in here, and then you pick it and hit OK. And it loads it in. This is what the 22 by 34 sheet looks like. Title block on the right-hand side, nice big open space. Unlike in Inventor, where you had to go into a special window to enter the information in the title block, in Revit, you can just type it in directly, which is kind of nice. So you just zoom in here, and you can actually add this information in. Just click once to select an area, click again to change the information. Now, I double-clicked. If you double-click on an area on the title block, it's going to do what just happened here. And you're going to notice I'm now editing the title block. I'll see over here family title blocks, and the title block opened up on its own. You do not want to make changes here. And if you accidentally do that, you simply want to click the X in the corner. This is now switching you over from the editing a house section of Revit to editing the things section of Revit. Some of you have probably accidentally double-clicked on a door or a toilet or something else in Revit and gotten to this window by accident yourselves. If you do that, you'll be editing a thing in Revit. It's like working in Inventor, kind of. You don't want to do that right now. So to get out, you simply click the X. Don't save any changes. It'll take you back here. And for example, I can change this here. Can I not change that right now? Yes, I can't change that right now. All right. Some things are built into the title block, like that little address is built into it. Long term, we could actually make our own custom title block if you wanted to have a Hawks title block like I have up there. If you notice that one says Hawks on it, I could do that. I could make a special title block that has our logo, has our address, has all that stuff in it. We're not going to spend the time for that right now, but we could do that long term if we wanted to. The information you're going to want to add is all down here. You can put your name, title, the title for, this is your name and the title for the project, title for this sheet, and then the number for the sheet. Who's it drawn by? Who's it checked by? That's you. That's me. The date, project number. This is the sheet number. You start with A101 and work your way up. If you get messed up and your sheets get out of order somehow, and your sheets get misnumbered, you can come in here and directly edit that number to change that. Anything you can directly edit, you can select once by clicking on it, and you'll get a little block to type the information in. If you can't do that, you can't edit it this way. Don't try double clicking. Does that make sense? All right, so let's zoom back out. To place something that you've created in your project onto a sheet, you simply drag and drop it from the project browser onto the sheet. For example, if I wanted to pull my floor plan over, I simply click on floor plan, drag, and drop. Now it's not going to let me because I already have it on another sheet. So let's do, oh, I don't know, a ceiling plan, because I know I haven't done any of those yet. Plop it over here so you can see how that happens. And it gives me a little box showing me where it's going to go. And then I simply click and place it. Now I'm going to walk you through that process in a little bit. There's some things obviously you can see I'm going to want to change about this, do some cropping and whatnot. But I just want to show you how you can drag and drop. So this is my work in progress right now for my cover sheet. I'm going to have a title, a table of contents, a render, the map, and the satellite for the location where the project's going to be. And then with this large scale sheet, I can actually combine the project description on this same sheet. So I'm going to put some paragraphs down below here describing the project and the constraints and the green sustainable features, that kind of stuff will all go down here. Let's take a look at my next sheet, A102, my elevations. This is an 11 by 17 sheet, the smaller sheet. On this one, the title block's at the bottom. Again, I can directly edit certain things by clicking on them. Things I can't directly edit won't pop up to be edited. Again, I can drag and drop things. Now, my elevations on this sheet are a little crowded. So this would actually probably be nicer as a larger scale sheet. If I want to change my sheet from what it is to a bigger one, say you decide, Owen decided he wanted to make 11 by 17 sheets, but then once he's in the process, he goes, you know what? This is just too small. I need to make this a larger sheet. Instead of deleting it and redoing it, how many of you know that's what you do every time? You just delete things and redo it. It's not the way to work. It's a waste of your time. Don't delete things and redo them. Edit things, change things, make things better. So I can select the title block directly, and what do you notice happens over in my properties browser? I set the size right there, right? I click the drop down, and you'll notice all the sheets I have loaded are showing up. Now, if I didn't load it, it won't be here. How do you think I'll get it in here if I didn't load it yet? How? Go down to Sheets, do what? I clicked it. Right click it, what next? New sheet, great. And then load. And then once it's loaded in this list, I can hit cancel. Click this. Click this. Click that. And boom. I suddenly have a lot more space to work in. Kind of nice, right? So you can switch back and forth just as easily as that. I can now come in here, select that, do that, and I'm back to my 11 by 17 sheet. So you can switch back and forth pretty easily if you decide you want to, okay? So that's adding new sheets, putting things on sheets, changing them. Let's take a look at my floor plan. I'm going to pretend that sheet, as a matter of fact, I'm going to delete that sheet, and I'm going to add it back. New sheet, and we're going to go 11 by 17, put it in. You'll note it goes in order, right? A106. Well, I deleted A103, so I'm going to do what I said, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to change that to be A103. You'll notice it changes the name in the browser automatically as well, puts it where I want it to be. And let's take a look at my floor plan. Whatever's on the floor plan will be what comes over to the sheet. So it's really nice if I can get these things set up before I drag them over. Let's take a look at what I've done here. Your floor plan is required to have certain things on it when it comes onto the floor plan sheet. You're actually going to have a second floor plan that we're going to bring over later on for the schedules. I'll show you that in a second. But for the floor plan sheet, it needs to have certain things. It needs to not have certain other things. I was mentioning to Nick earlier, a lot of you have put all this furniture and stuff in. The floor plan, the dimensioned floor plan, cannot have any of that. The dimension floor plan must show all the stuff that's built into the house. Windows, doors, walls, that stuff. And nothing else. So like you can see here, I put some lights in later. I have to get rid of those. I can right click on it. I can go hide in view, and conveniently, excuse me, I can go by category, and they'll all just go poof. That's true for your furniture. So Nick, you were worried earlier you have to go through and hide all your furniture individually. You right click on one piece of furniture, hide in view by category. You're hiding the category furniture. All your furniture just goes poof, and it's gone. Makes it real easy to get rid of it that way. You need this view to be as clean as possible because you're going to be adding a lot of things to this view. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second here. This view needs to show just those things that came on it. It needs to have a label for each room, showing where each room is. That label comes from annotate, and then, where is it at over here? Text. Yours will show that a little clearer because you've got more space than I do on my screen here. Text. You're just going to put text on, all caps, name each room, pop those on, so that each room has a nice little clean label on it. You also need to show the 5-foot turning circles for your main bathroom and for your kitchen. Let me show you how to put those on. There's 2 steps to it. You first need to put the circle on. In that case, you're going to create what's called a detail line. Detail lines under annotation are just lines you're drawing to show information. It's just a line. When you click detail line, you get the draw panel over here that you should be familiar with by now. Lots of different ways to draw lines. Well, I want a circle line. I can pick a center point for it. And then you'll notice it's asking me for what information? Can you guys see that? A radius. Well, a 5-foot diameter circle has what radius? 2.5 feet, right? 2.5 space 0. Enter. It's not happy with that. So I'm going to go 2 space 6. And now it's happy. And now I can take that circle and I can drag it around and plop it in there. Now I need to also label it so that it's clear it is a 5-foot diameter circle. In that case, I'm still under annotate, but over here now, I'm on the dimension panel. I want to label the diameter right here. Click diameter, select the circle, and it will automatically put the diameter in. Do you see that? I can just go click, and boom, diameter is labeled. So I've got my labels for my rooms. I have my 5-foot diameter circles, and now I need to label every dimension on the building. Every dimension on the building. There are 2 major sections here. Interior room dimensions and exterior overall dimensions. Interior room dimensions. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see. For example, master bedroom. Width, length, here. Width for this room, width for that room. Why don't I have these dimensions listed for the bathrooms? No, they're the same as the bedroom. Do not overdo it. You're going to have a lot of information on this one drawing. It needs to have all of the information, but not so much information that it can't be read. Does that make sense? So you need to be judicious. I have to have this dimension, but if I have it once here, I don't have to have it also here and here. Does that make sense? Same thing's up here with bed 2 and bed 3. Notice, this 8 foot 4 inches, that's a tiny bedroom. I'm sorry, whoever's living there. 8 foot 4 inches is listed for bed 2. I do not also need to list it for bed 3 because it's the same dimension. Does that make sense? So list what dimensions you have to list, but do not overlist them. It will overdo it and it will clutter the space. So list the interior dimensions you have to list. How? I'm glad you asked. Annotate tab, aligned. Now, before you click anything, you have options on this green bar, your options bar. Faces of core, wall center lines, wall faces. You want to be selecting wall faces to be making your aligned dimensions. And you'll notice when I do that, my wall faces now light up blue when I hover over them. I can pick a wall face from there to there. Click. And now I got a dimension. This does not change dimensions and does not allow me to change dimensions. It's not like when I select a wall and then I can click the little button to make the permanent dimension and then change it. That's a whole different thing. This is annotations. This is telling me what dimensions are, not changing the dimensions. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. This is simply labeling the dimensions on the house. So you're going to select this and you're just going to go around clickety-click. All the way around the house, go on the interior living spaces and label all the dimensions that you feel are necessary. Then, exterior, 2 levels of dimension. Typically when you dimension anything, this is for houses or for tables or for cars or for chairs or for whatever you're labeling the dimensions on, we typically do the most detailed dimensions closer to the thing and the less detailed dimensions farther from the thing. Does that make sense? Okay, so notice what I've got up here. Along here, I'm showing a chain dimension that lists the distance for each of the individual things along the way. Center point for windows, center point for doors, center point for windows. This closet, wall, closet, window, all the way along. Then next level, porch dimensions across. And then next level, overall house dimension. You do have to do all of those things. You have to be able to locate things. The person who's making the house has to be able to know, where do these windows go? Where does this door go? Now, they don't have to know the dimensions for the door. Why don't they have to know the dimensions for the door? If you click on it, it tells you. It's a 36 by 80 door. And in your door schedule that we're going to create, that information will be on there. What is the dimensions for the door? But they have to know, where does the door go? And this specific sheet shows them that information. Does that make sense? Okay. So as I said, this is a sheet with a ton of information. It's very dense. You need to have a good balance between clean but full of information. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Now, when I drag this and drop it on the sheet, initially with no changes on my part, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a big square with a tiny little house right in the middle of it. Lots of white space around. And that's not what you want. It's going to take up way too much space. It's not going to look good. So we need to crop the view. And you want to go to each view that you're going to use in a sheet and crop it appropriately before you put it on the sheet to make your life easier. To crop a view. In your properties browser for the view. And you'll know that you're in the right properties view because it's going to say what you're changing. You see, floor plan? If I've clicked on something, obviously, it'll tell me what I'm changing the properties for, right? To get to the properties for the view, I simply click on the white space, and now I'm changing floor plan. I scroll down until I see extents. What does that mean, extents? How far something goes. I want at least these first 2 things checked. Crop view and crop region visible. If crop region visible is unchecked, I can't see what the crop region is. It'll still crop the view, but I won't know where, and I won't be able to change it. That's not very helpful, is it? So I need to have both these first 2 checked. Crop the view and crop region visible. The last one, annotation crop, provides me with, I'll show you here. Where is it at? Oh, here we go. Provides me with a secondary cropping box for annotations. So that allows me to bring this in a little closer. You see? And this solid line crops things, and the dotted line crops annotations. So it allows me to have double layers of cropping for different things. If you're really OCD and you want to be particular about it, you can do that. I don't ever typically bother with annotation cropping. I just have a main crop my view, and move on with life. So you want this crop to be tight around your house, keeping it close so you're only showing what you need to show. Does that make sense? And do that for every view that you're going to use. Then when I go to my sheet for A103, that's unnamed, I'm going to call it floor plan. I'm going to scroll up over here. I'm going to grab floor plan, and I'm going to drop it. And notice I get this nice tight little box, and I click. And there's my floor plan. Looks good. Questions about how to create the floor plan view, how to put it in the sheet, any of that stuff.
Now, will that stay there if we then go back to it, or will it go back?
If I change anything over here, whatever I change here will change in the sheet. So let's understand what we're seeing over here in the sheet. This is a window into the floor plan view. This little box we see right here, this black box here, is a window into the floor plan view. Anything I change in that view will change here automatically, with no need for me to do anything about it.
So how will we have two different floors?
I'm going to show you how to do that in a second here. Before we do that, if I want to make changes, I can actually, two birds, one stone here. While I'm on the sheet, I can double click this. This is called a viewport. Do you see how it shows up, viewport? Kind of the name tells you what it is. It's a viewport into the view. I can double click this to activate it. Do you notice how the sheet kind of grays out? And now I'm actually editing the view directly through the sheet. So I can make changes the same way as I did before. I select the wall, you see. I can make any change I can make while I'm in the view, I can make while I'm in here. Same way I made while I'm in that floor plan view, right? It'll make the change everywhere. And as soon as I'm done, I double click off. The sheet becomes visible again, and now I'm back to editing the sheet again. So you can actually, if you know you're working on the sheet, making it look correct, you can make changes directly to the viewport by double clicking on it and change the view directly that way. Questions about that? Okay. I'm going to skip section for now and go to schedules because I want to answer Seamus's question. Schedules. You notice I have a second floor plan here. How did I do that? Not magic. Down here, I have a floor plan called schedule. To get another floor plan, I have to right-click this and duplicate view. I have three options for duplicating a view. If I duplicate the view, it duplicates it with nothing. They're completely separate from each other, unconnected, with none of the detailing that's on it. None of the dimensions, none of the annotations, none of that stuff. It's a copy of it with none of the extra stuff. That makes sense? Duplicate with detailing duplicates it exactly as you see it. Still not connected. Duplicate as dependent duplicates it exactly as you see it, connected. Maybe change to one, changes the other. You almost never do that one because it's very rare that you'd ever want that for any reason. Okay? For the purpose of making the schedules, which one do you think you want? No. Duplicate, because for the schedules view, we don't want the dimensions on it. And we do want to add other things to it.
So what if we did like duplicate? So like we duplicate the one now that we have with details, we keep the furniture, and then we go back to the original one.
That'd be fine. Yep. You'll notice that's kind of what I did, right? You see my furniture's in here?
Yeah.
Now you'll notice I didn't leave all of my furniture. I left some. The kitchen stuff, the water heater, the mudroom stuff, the bathroom stuff. You want to keep it balanced, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of stuff in here. These are called room tags. I'm going to talk about that in a second, how to put those in, how that works. So again, it needs to be balanced. You're going to want some furniture. You're not going to want others. So you're going to want to go ahead and right-click and hide things selectively as opposed to by category and make it look the way you want it to look. And you can kind of change that as you go. So let's go ahead and do a right-click, duplicate. I'm going to duplicate without detailing for this one. You see what you get with no detailing? Just the basics. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call this one... Come on. Schedules test, just to show you. All right. So now let's go ahead and put all of our different tags and schedules on here. In order to create a schedule, the list of things, you have to tag the things. Okay? So let's go ahead to annotate. And you'll note we get tag by category and tag all. Let's start with the windows and the doors because they're the easiest. We're going to tag by category. Where do they go? No, you know what? I'm sorry. Let's tag by category takes too much time. I'm going to tag all. It's funny because tag by category you think would bring up this window. The tag by category actually takes more work and requires you to go through more steps. I prefer tag all. Tag all will bring up this window, just like you see. And then you get to pick what you want to tag. So I want to tag all. I'm going to start off with window tags. I don't put a leader line on my doors, and I do on my windows typically. Do one, not the other. That's your choice. So a leader line's a little line that kind of separates the tag from the thing with a little line that connects them. Does that make sense? If you don't put a leader line on anything, you end up with a whole bunch of tags, little number things, all over your house and your walls, and you can't see anything. You don't want a lot of those on the walls because it gets confusing. And because you typically have more windows than doors, I'll usually do the leader lines for the windows and not for the doors then. That way I can kind of balance it. So I'm going to do leader lines for window tags. I'll leave all this stuff by default, and if I don't like it, I'll come back and change it later. I'll hit OK. And boom. There's my window tags. Why are they all the same number? All the same thing. They're all the same window. The tag is based on the window type. It's not the number of windows. We'll get to that in a second, what that looks like. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tag all again. And we're going to pause for just a second here.